Okay, so it was raining outside, so that's why everything's all different looking. But still continuing class 1, part 3, I guess now. But back to the crate stuff. Raven had asked me about blankets and dog beds, and they're totally fine. It just depends on the dog. So if the dog tears up toys or gets distracted when they're bored, definitely we don't want to give them a bed to have in their kennel to potentially tear up and ingest. That could be a very expensive surgery. So definitely it depends on each dog. So I do find most dogs don't actually like the beds in their kennel because it's very warm and they like the cool tray. But you can try it out and see what they like. Same with in the middle of the night, letting the baby puppies out. You want to, as they get older, stop doing that as much as possible, but obviously if they can't hold it and they end up having accidents in their kennel, then you want to wake up in the middle of the night. But you definitely don't want to have any playtime when they wake up during that time. It is strictly let out and go back into the kennel. They may start crying again, and it should be completely normal, so just, put some earplugs in, put an extra blanket around the sides you have covered to quiet them down. You can go so far as getting like some soundproof stuff and put it in the room if you put them in somewhere small. Don't make them think it's an acceptable time to wake up and have playtime. So, problem behaviors. Every dog has their unique behavior, weird behaviors. So even the most highly trained dogs, the most specialized dogs you can imagine, they have their weird quirks. So if your dog has something weird that you're working on or always working on, that's totally fine. I trained a service dog that ended up being an FBI digital media scent detection, so gets USBs, CDs, and all that stuff. She has her weird quirks too. She likes to roll on her back in the middle of the grass despite whatever's going on. It's a comic relief, but it's definitely a quirk. And they all have their weird personalities. Like Austin here does not like to go in the car all the time, so he will intentionally refuse. So we gotta make him super excited, think of what's motivating to him. And so just accept that every dog's going to have something weird, and it doesn't mean your dog's going to fail out. That is definitely something that we look out for, not something you should be worrying about. So always think that the dog can get better from this, and you can always improve. And you're doing a good job, so don't worry about that. And a lot of times the behaviors that we don't like are to get attention. So barking, scratching, that kind of stuff. That is usually just for attention. So if we're giving them what they want, they're going to continue doing it because we're reinforcing it. So turn around, don't look at them. They can jump on your back if they want. They can bark at you, but don't even give them the eye contact that they want. And soon enough, it'll go away. And if it doesn't, then let us know. Don't put it in the report because I don't always check those right after they're due. So definitely send us a text message and we can set something up. So a lot of times that's crying in the crate, totally normal. They'll probably do that for several months, and it should decrease as they get used to that kennel. And jumping, definitely just say off, turn your back, and once they sit, give them a treat and give them the praise and the attention that they want. Exercise is a lot of the reason why a lot of dogs have behavioral issues is because they're just really bored and have a lot of pent-up energy. So make sure you're always exercising your dog. I'm talking their minimum 30 minutes a day. A lot of other dogs have at least 50 to an hour and a half. So it depends on the breed that you have, and you'll start to know your dog, but they need exercise. And if you're not able to do that, have a puppy sitter come and help you, or bring them to doggy daycare and stuff. So make sure your dog is getting the mental and physical exercise that they need so that they can behave and learn to be a good dog. So dog parks are fine if you have if you already have like approval with me. What I don't want to happen is have several dogs playing with each other and your dog gets hurt and it costs us a lot of money to stitch up something or have surgery. So if it's just 2 dogs, 3 total, and you're watching the dogs play the entire time. If the dog starts getting snappy, you just leave. But definitely, I encourage having socialization, but I want it to be safe. So if you're not going to be there watching your dog stringently, then you probably should choose some other way to exercise them, like playing fetch. You can do that with a long line, that long leash, if you're not in a fenced-in area. And the number one most important thing about this with raising a service dog is not so much that they know all the commands under the sun. It's actually more important that they're well socialized and they're just generally a pleasant dog to be around. So the most important things for us is exposing them to everything under the sun, like people, dogs, houses, flooring, sounds, everything you can think of. But it's also important to desensitize them to some things that they're going to see as they get older. So bathing them, blow drying them, clipping their nails, cleaning their ears, getting tugged on their tail, pressing gently on their feet, and, you know, putting a jacket over their head and hats on them. So desensitizing them, there's like different steps on how to do that. And you want to do it little by little. If the dog's starting to act uncomfortable, we don't want to push it too far. So watch some YouTube videos, are really helpful. But definitely nail clipping, bathing, all this stuff that's really important for their health, they need to be desensitized to. Yeah, so desensitizing means they're not even going to notice it after so long. And counter conditioning is different than that. That's removing a negative feeling and replacing it with a positive one, something that they're already afraid of. And we train our dogs through clicker. So I don't have one on me at this second, but it's just a thing that makes noise. And I also use the word yes. And so long as it's the same word, which I don't recommend for you guys if you're not an experienced like marker on that training word, I recommend using the clicker. Timing is very important, and it's going to be something you'll need to practice, so feel free to go to the shelter and clicker train their dogs. They definitely could use help having some obedience training. They're a lot more likely to get adopted. But what we do is we pair the click noise in their mind with a treat. So every time they hear click, they know a treat is coming shortly. So same with yes. So yes, a treat's coming shortly. What we're doing there is marking the correct behavior and rewarding them for it. It brings out the time between getting in your pocket for that treat and handing it to them, and then moving from the position. Say we were teaching down from afar. So it kind of takes out that little time there, and it's a very consistent, clear way of communicating with the dogs, so it's really helpful. I will show you a little bit about that later. But the ideal training sessions for your dog is going to be about 15 minutes. They don't have a very long attention span, and especially if you're challenging them too much in that short period of time, they're going to get very frustrated. So keep them short, and if they aren't succeeding at the thing you're asking, back down your levels of what you're asking for. So remove distance, or lower distance, lower distraction, lower duration of how long you're having them sit or anything like that. That training part is something you and I can work with, and going to an obedience class nearby you. But the most important thing is having a well-rounded dog. So socializing them is number one. I can always do some of the fancy training later on, but I want your dog to be able to go into a public store and not have a breakdown or get very scared. And we can teach them sitting down, and that will be the most important thing for you guys to teach, and it's very simple, so I believe you can do that. So requirements with us, and this is a requirement, we're cracking down on this. If you do not, if you get more than 3 strikes, we will consider, or in other words, we will take the dog from your possession and find a new trainer if we have to. So please do take it seriously when we tell you to do things. It's, you know, it's really important for us getting accreditation and getting our dogs have that, the backing, saying that we really do train the dogs the way we say we do, and it looks good, and it's just really important. So It's hard to explain the importance in this video where I just randomly came up, but it's very important that you do all the training reports, that you do post on Facebook. There are people that donate money for your dog, and that's how we pay for their food and stuff. So it's very important you do this beyond just our rules. So it's not us that gets upset, it's really other people, and it hurts the individuals that need these service dogs down the road. So every other week, Sunday by midnight, you have a semi-monthly report, and I do send Google notifications, but it's your responsibility to have that on your calendar and remember. And we do have a monthly letter. You write about half page of content and then add little photos embedded in there. It's in the dog's perspective. So, hi, my name is Austin. I am learning how to pick up dropped items. I have got my Canine Good Citizen a couple months ago, and I can't wait to be back with my dad. Blah, 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 and I can give you examples. You will need to post weekly on your dog's Facebook page. It's just a photo saying something that you did this week. Ideally something that you're working on, maybe a video of what you're doing if it's a good one. And never anything negative on there, just positive stuff, and be active on it as much as you can, but at very minimum, every week we need statuses because people are watching and hope to see more about your dog. And you are required to attend all of your obedience classes, outings, and swaps. So we may take your dog and give you another dog, and I'm sorry if you have something scheduled. We will try and make things work, but if it comes down to it, we do have to have that swap happen, and it makes it so that the dog's not superly attached to you and able to work with other people, and there's a lot of reasons why we do the stuff that we do. So thanks so much for watching this first class. I hope it wasn't too bad. We do have 2 more left, and yeah, so